You think you're managing your week, but look closer. Most of what you did was not chosen, it was triggered. One notification, one emotion, one interruption, and suddenly your day changed direction without asking for permission. This is how control is lost, not in dramatic failures but in quiet reactions. You wake up with intention, but you start your day consuming instead of deciding. You tell yourself you'll focus, but your attention is pulled before you even begin. You plan to act with discipline, yet your emotions keep rewriting your priorities. And by the end of the week, there is a strange feeling you cannot ignore. You were active, but not intentional. Busy, but not in control. Seneca wrote On the Shortness of Life, that people are not given a short life, they make it short by wasting it. What he saw centuries ago is exactly what is happening to you now. You are not lacking time. You are leaking it through unconscious decisions. This video is not about becoming more productive. It is about something far more important, reclaiming authority over your week. Because if you cannot control your week, you cannot control the direction of your life. And once you see what is really happening behind your lost days, you won't be able to unsee it. The invisible fragmentation. Your week is not falling apart by accident. It is being fragmented. Not by big problems, but by small, constant interruptions that break your attention into pieces. You start something with clarity, then switch. You try to focus, then react. You move forward, then get pulled sideways. And each time this happens, something deeper is affected. Your ability to stay in control. Most people think they have a discipline problem. They don't. They have a fragmentation problem. Their attention is divided. Their decisions are scattered. Their energy is constantly being redirected by things they never chose. Epictetus taught that if you want to improve, you must learn to distinguish between what is in your control and what is not. But what no one tells you is this: fragmentation blurs that line. When your mind is constantly interrupted, you stop acting from intention and start reacting by default. You lose clarity, you lose direction, you lose authorship over your own actions. And the most dangerous part is that it feels normal, because everyone around you is living the same way. But there is a hidden cost. A fragmented week creates a fragmented identity. You start becoming someone who begins things but does not sustain them. Someone who reacts quickly but reflects rarely. Someone who moves constantly but arrives nowhere. This is how control disappears. Not through chaos, through quiet, repeated distraction. And if you do not understand this, no system, no routine, no productivity method will ever fix your week. Because the problem is not what you do, it is how your attention is being controlled without you noticing. And in the next part, you will see why most people never escape this cycle, even when they are trying. The reactive identity. You don't just lose control of your week, you become someone who expects to lose it. At first, it feels like circumstance, a busy schedule, unexpected problems, demands you cannot avoid. But over time, something deeper begins to form. A pattern. You start your days without clear direction. You wait to see what happens. You adjust, respond, adapt. And slowly, without realizing, you stop leading your time and start negotiating with it. This is the birth of a reactive identity, a person who does not decide first, a person who responds first. Seneca warned about this in a different way. On the Shortness of Life, he makes it clear that people are not occupied because they have too much to do. They are occupied because they do not know what deserves to be done. And that confusion creates vulnerability. Because when you do not define your priorities, the world will define them for you. Every message feels urgent. Every distraction feels justified. Every emotional impulse feels valid enough to act on. And this is where control collapses. Not because you are weak, but because you are unanchored. A reactive identity does not need chaos to fail. It fails in normal days. Days where nothing dramatic happens, yet everything important is postponed. Days where you move constantly, yet avoid what truly matters. Days where you feel productive but make no meaningful progress. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself in Meditations, Book 5, Paragraph 1, that at dawn, when you wake up, you must remember that you have work to do as a human being. Not to react, to act. But most people wake up and immediately surrender that responsibility. They check, they scroll, they absorb. And before they even think, their mental state has already been influenced. This is the moment control is lost, not later in the day, at the very beginning. Because the first actions of your day are not just actions, they are signals. They define who is in charge, and if you begin your day by reacting, your entire week will follow the same pattern. But there is something even more dangerous than reacting, not realizing that you are doing it. And in the next part you will see the hidden mechanics of how a week is quietly lost, even when it looks full and productive. The anatomy of a lost week. A lost week does not look like failure. It looks like movement. You wake up, you do things, you respond, you solve small problems, you stay busy. From the outside, everything seems normal. From the inside, something feels off, because progress is missing. A week is not lost when nothing happens. It is lost when everything happens except what matters. And this happens through a pattern so subtle that most people never question it. First, your attention is taken. You did not choose it. It was pulled. A notification, a message, a thought that leads you away from what you intended to do. Then your priorities shift, not because they changed in importance, but because something else demanded your focus first. And once your focus moves, your direction follows. Then your energy is spent, not on what builds your future, but on what maintains your present. You handle, you respond, you keep things running, but you do not move forward. And at the end of the day, you feel tired. Not from meaningful effort, but from constant redirection. Epictetus taught that you become what you give your attention to, not occasionally, but consistently. And this is where the real loss happens, not in one decision, but in accumulation. Small distractions, small delays, small emotional reactions. Each one seems harmless. Together, they rewrite your trajectory. This is what most people misunderstand. They think they need more time to change their life. They don't. They need to stop losing the time they already have. Because a week is nothing more than repeated days, and days are nothing more than repeated decisions. If those decisions are unconscious, your week will be unconscious. If your week is unconscious, your life will follow the same pattern. And this is why most people feel stuck, not because they are incapable of change, but because they are consistent in the wrong direction. But there is a shift that changes everything. A shift from reacting to designing. And once you understand it, your week stops being something you survive and becomes something you control. The Stoic shift, from reacting to designing. Control does not begin with effort. It begins with decision. Not the decision to do more, but the decision to define before anything else tries to define for you. This is the shift most people never make. They try to control their week while already inside it. They wait until the day starts, until the messages arrive, until the demands appear. And then they attempt to organize the chaos they allowed to enter. But the Stoics approached life differently. They did not wait for the day to happen. They prepared their mind before it began. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, Book 2, Paragraph 1, that when you rise in the morning, you must anticipate the nature of the people and events you will face, not to become negative, but to remain in control. This is not pessimism. This is strategic awareness. Because when you expect interruption, you are not surprised by it. When you anticipate distraction, you are not controlled by it. When you define your direction early, you are harder to move. This is what it means to design your week. You decide what matters before the world presents alternatives. You establish anchors that do not depend on mood, motivation, or external pressure. You remove negotiation from what should be non-negotiable. Seneca made this clear in On the Shortness of Life. He said that life is long enough if you know how to use it. What he implied is direct. Time does not need to be expanded. It needs to be directed. And direction is not created in the middle of distraction. It is created in moments of clarity before the noise begins. This is where most people lose. They start their week open to influence, open to interruption, open to being redirected. And what starts open ends scattered. But when you design your week, something changes. You stop asking what you feel like doing. You start acting based on what you decided matters. And that creates something rare. Consistency without internal conflict. Because the moment you remove daily decision-making from essential actions, you remove the friction that usually stops you. Now your week is no longer a series of reactions, it becomes a structure. And structure is what transforms intention into reality. But even with structure, there is one force that can still break everything if left unchecked: your emotional responses. And in the next part, you will see how emotions silently take control of your week, even when everything is planned. Emotional leakage, where control disappears. You can design your week, you can define your priorities, you can create structure, and still lose everything. Not because your system is wrong, but because your emotions override it. Control is not broken by lack of planning, it is broken by emotional leakage. Small reactions that seem insignificant in the moment, but carry consequences far beyond what you notice. A message irritates you, and your focus is gone for the next hour. A delay frustrates you, and your energy shifts away from what matters. A moment of doubt appears, and you postpone what should have been done. Nothing dramatic happened, yet your direction changed. This is how most weeks collapse. Not through failure, but through reaction. Epictetus taught that it is not things themselves that disturb us, but the judgments we make about them. What he revealed is uncomfortable. The problem is not what happens to you. The problem is how quickly you surrender control to it. Emotional leakage is not about feeling. It is about acting without pause. When you react instantly, you give your state away. When you allow every impulse to dictate your next move, you lose authorship over your own behavior. And the cost is not just one moment, it compounds. One reaction leads to distraction. Distraction leads to delay. Delay creates pressure. Pressure creates more emotional instability. And suddenly your structured week turns into the same pattern you were trying to escape. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself in Meditations, Book 8, paragraph 47, that you have power over your mind, not outside events. What he was reinforcing is simple. Control is internal, but most people live as if it is external. They wait to feel right before acting. They wait for clarity before moving. They wait for motivation before committing. And while they wait, their week is being shaped by forces they never intended to follow. The difference between a controlled week and a lost one is not intelligence, it is emotional discipline. The ability to pause before reacting. The ability to see a trigger and not immediately obey it. The ability to maintain direction even when your internal state is unstable. Because if your emotions decide your actions, your structure means nothing. But if your actions remain stable despite your emotions, your week becomes unshakable. And now you are ready for what truly changes everything. A system that does not depend on how you feel. The Stoic Weekly System. Control is not built on intensity. It is built on structure that survives your worst days. Most people try to fix their week with motivation. They wait to feel ready, then they act. But motivation is unstable. It rises and falls. And when it disappears, so does consistency. The Stoic approach is different. It removes dependence on feeling and replaces it with design, not a complex system, a precise one. You begin with a weekly intention, not a long list of tasks, but a clear direction. What truly matters this week? What must move forward no matter what? This becomes your reference point when everything tries to pull you away. Then you establish daily anchors. 2 or 3 actions that define a successful day, independent of mood, independent of external noise. If these are completed, the day has meaning. If they are ignored, the day drifts. This eliminates confusion. You no longer wake up asking what to do. You already decided. Next, you create controlled beginnings. The first moments of your day cannot be random. They cannot belong to the world. They must belong to you. No immediate consumption. No reactive behavior. You enter your day with awareness, not absorption. This sets the tone. Then, emotional checkpoints. You do not eliminate emotion. You observe it. When something triggers you, you pause. You delay reaction. You create space between impulse and action. That space is where control lives. Finally, a weekly review, not to judge yourself, but to recalibrate. What worked? What failed? What distracted you? What moved you forward? You refine, you adjust, you become more precise. Seneca wrote that every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. What he meant is direct. Improvement is not random. It is examined. This system is not about doing more. It is about removing what weakens your control and reinforcing what sustains it. Because when your week has structure, your decisions require less energy. When your decisions require less energy, your consistency increases. And when your consistency increases, your identity changes. You stop being someone who tries, you become someone who executes. But there is one truth that most people resist, even when they understand everything you have seen so far. The truth that determines whether this system will actually work for you. The power of boring consistency. What will transform your week is not intensity. It is repetition, not the kind that feels exciting, but the kind that feels ordinary, predictable, almost invisible. This is where most people fail. They want change to feel powerful. They want progress to feel dramatic. They want every week to feel different from the last. But real control is built in sameness. Doing what matters, again and again, without needing a new surge of motivation each time. This is uncomfortable, because the mind is addicted to variation. It seeks novelty. It wants stimulation. It resists anything that feels repetitive. But the Stoics understood something deeper. Freedom is not found in doing whatever you feel like doing. It is found in being able to do what must be done, regardless of how you feel. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, Book 6, Paragraph 2, that you must perform each action in life as if it were your last, free from distraction and emotional disturbance. What he described is not intensity. It is presence and consistency. The ability to execute without internal resistance. Boring consistency removes negotiation. You do not ask yourself if you feel ready. You do not wait for the right mood. You do not depend on external conditions. You act because it is already decided. And over time, something shifts. The effort decreases, the resistance fades, the identity stabilizes. You stop experiencing discipline as force. It becomes your default. This is the moment control becomes real. Not when you have a perfect week, but when you can repeat a structured week without needing to reinvent yourself every time. Because your life will not be shaped by what you do occasionally. It will be shaped by what you repeat. And now there is only one thing left to confront. If you continue living your weeks the way you are now, where does that lead you? Future self-confrontation. Project this week forward. Not in your imagination as something you will fix later, but as a pattern that repeats without change. Same reactions, same distractions, same delays. Now multiply it. 52 times. A full year built on weeks you did not control. Where does that lead you? Not in theory, in reality. Because your future is not created in big decisions. It is constructed in repeated weeks. And if your weeks are unstructured, your future will reflect that lack of structure. This is the confrontation most people avoid. They believe they will change when the moment is right, when things calm down, when they feel more ready. But nothing external reorganizes your life, only your decisions do. Seneca warned that while we are postponing, life speeds by. What he meant is direct. Delay is not neutral, it is a direction. Every week you repeat without awareness strengthens a version of yourself that becomes harder to break. You are not just losing time, you are reinforcing identity. And identity is what determines behavior. If you keep living reactive weeks, you become someone who lives reactively. If you keep allowing distraction, you become someone who cannot sustain focus. This is not punishment, it is consequence. Now reverse the question. What happens if you take control of your next week? Not perfectly, but deliberately. You define your direction. You protect your attention. You act despite your emotional state. You repeat what matters. Multiply that by 52. Now where do you end up? This is the real decision in front of you. Not what you will do tomorrow, but which version of yourself you are willing to reinforce. Because whether you choose it or not, your next week is already shaping your future. And in the final part, everything comes down to a single decision you cannot avoid. The decision that changes everything. There is no perfect week waiting for you, No moment where everything aligns, where distractions disappear, where you suddenly feel ready to take control. That moment does not exist. What exists is a decision, a clear, immediate shift in how you approach your time. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, now. You either continue allowing your week to be shaped by what happens to you, or you begin shaping it by what you decide in advance. There is no middle ground. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, Book 4, paragraph 17, that you could leave life right now, so let that determine what you do, say, and think. This is not about fear. It is about urgency. The understanding that time is not something you manage later. It is something you are using right now. And every moment you delay taking control is a moment that reinforces the same pattern you claim to want to escape. You do not need a new system. You do not need more information. You need to stop negotiating with what you already know matters. Define your next week. Decide your anchors. Protect your attention. Act regardless of your emotional state. Review and adjust. Then repeat. This is not complex, but it is not easy, because it requires something most people avoid. Responsibility. Not for everything that happens, but for how you respond to it. And once you accept that, something shifts permanently. You stop waiting for better conditions. You become the condition. Your week is no longer something that controls you. It becomes something you command. And from that point forward, your life begins to move in a direction that is no longer accidental. It becomes intentional. This is where control begins. Not with more time. With a decision you either make now or continue avoiding. The choice is already in front of you.